25 years of fearless and impactful journalism. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. $17,741 cases and 112 deaths.
We'll be burying 5 at a go. We're going to bury more. We only want to alert the public. The COVID is real, and therefore protect yourself. Observe the national protocol measures to protect yourself, protect your family.
This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy997 FM studios here in Kukumlemle at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, Radio Max in Takrady, Jubilee FM in Ketais, around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank. Let's go. In this edition, obey the protocols or go home. Electoral Commission warns voter ID applicants as they result to increase vigilance at various registration centers on day 2 of the exercise.
So today we are going to ask our people to seriously force people to observe them. If they can't, then they should rather leave the place.
Meanwhile, on day 2 of the exercise, EC and security officials struggle to enforce social distancing protocols. Our reporters will bring you the latest from the registration centers. Aswasi MP accuses governing NPP of busing non-residents into the constituency to register and vows to prevent the move. But officials say they will hold him responsible for any mishap.
They are doing this to enhance cross-boundary activity. For us, this is our territory. We will do everything to protect it. If anybody gets hurt, we shall hold him responsible.
Actress Equia Pimpolo fails to honor police CID invitation for posting nude pictures of herself and son on social media. We'll speak to the police even as the actress releases video apologizing for the act.
It was an artistic impression I was posting out there, but all the same, I want to say that I'm so sorry if anyone got hurt with my post, and also want you to know that it wasn't bad intentions.
Also in sports, former WBO bantamweight world champion Alfred Cobra Corte has died in the United States after suffering a stroke. I have details of that and later on Spotlight.
Clarity without money. Yeah. If nobody knows you, you can hide in some corner to chop your cocoa and your watching. Yeah. But you become popular. Everybody wants. You don't want people to see you sitting in the corner chopping cocoa or queuing for topic. So you have to live a certain life.
We celebrate legendary high life musician Rex Omar, whose music still lives on 2 decades after he entered the music industry. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Thanks for your company. Details shortly. And this is your election headquarters here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. And the Electoral Commission has sounded a word of caution to persons who choose to flout the social distancing protocols during the registration exercise that they will be sent home if they do not comply. Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Dr. Srebo Kweku, says individuals must take personal responsibility for their own safety or face the consequences. The Commission has been criticized by various stakeholders after safety measures were abandoned by voter ID applicants when the exercise began yesterday. Health experts fear there will be a spike in cases of COVID-19 soon if this is not checked. Listen to public health expert Dr. Joy997FM.
What we need to focus on will be the approaches that we need to take to reduce the risk of spread. One major thing I'm not hearing much about is the amount of time which individuals would spend at the registration and the amount of interaction, especially verbal, vocal interaction that would take place at that place. The amount of time that you spend significantly influences risk of transmission in case someone is in contact with an infected person. So the longer the time, the increase in the risk. There's also a third variable in there, which is the amount of vocal or verbal interaction. And one of the things I would strongly encourage is that people should limit the amount of talking and verbal interaction that goes on in these places. And that's just the one thing that we need to highlight. Less talking. If you can, just don't talk there.
That's the public health expert, Dr. Joy997FM. Now, listen to Dr. Srebo Kweku's response when he spoke earlier on Prime Morning on the Joy Prime TV.
They may not necessarily do that at the registration center, but people should appreciate that wherever they go, it will be in their interest and the interest of their family, interest of all Ghanaians, to ensure the social distancing. As for the application of the thermometer, water, and the rest, they had no choice. But the social distancing is the challenge. And I will entreat that once we are dealing with people 18 years and above, they should appreciate the implications of not observing the social distancing. So today we are going to ask our people to seriously force people to observe them. If they can't, then they should rather leave the place.
So Dr. Sribokwek also described as unfair the Ghana Medical Association's call on government to take action against the commission if the wanton disregard for safety continues throughout the registration centers. Listen.
What I would say is that instead of apportioning blame and threatening people, let us all agree and commit ourselves to the education. Let us all let people know the implication of their actions instead of threatening and the most important, all of us, every Ghanaian should be committed to that. If you go there and you see that it's not working, help to educate the people. I think that will need more results instead of the threats.
Do you feel like that particular threat, as you call it, is unfair?
I think so, because we are talking of adults who should know what is right. So people should take their own health situation into their hands. So everybody should be on board to help us educate the people and ask people to observe the protocols.
You heard that the Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Dr. Sribokwek. Well, the Electoral Commission officials and security agencies have this morning been confronted with eager voters in some registration centers who are simply refusing to obey the COVID-19 safety protocols. It is day 2 of the EC's voter registration exercise, and the Commission had warned it would turn away persons who fail to abide by the protocols. Our reporters are on the ground, and they say despite an improvement in mask wearing, distancing in queues remain an issue. The situation is no different today. Let's start from here in Accra. Maxwell Agbagba reports adherence remains a challenge. Maxwell, you just returned from your rounds. Tell us how specifically the rules are being flouted.
Well, you find potential registrants huddled on benches. You would also find them, standing very close to each other in the queues. And when we asked them why they were so close and not observing the 1 meter rule distance, they told us that some of their friends who come later sometimes jump the queues. So it is important for them to keep the gaps closed so they do not jump the queue and get ahead of them. I've been speaking to a resident at the Blessed Assurance Registration Center who fears there will be a spike in coronavirus cases.
The situation here is very bad. And if I will even be a little bit religious here, if the pandemic infects one person, if care is not taken, this community will be known as an epicenter in Ghana of having the COVID-19. It is very, very bad. Nothing isn't working here. So I have rated it as about 95% of the what do you call it? The health protocols are not being observed here. The 5% will only be given to the thermometer guns, which are being used. No hand sanitizers. I'm not seeing the hand sanitizers. I'm not seeing the liquid and the water. The 1 meter between those who are going to register, there is nothing going on here. It is a very bad situation. And I hope and pray the authorities will intervene before it becomes a problem.
Thank you very much.
I think we have to be social distancing because we have 4 police stations in Choko community here. So I'm wondering why now it's only one. That's only one problem.
So these are residents at the Blessed Assurance Registration Center in the Blakema South constituency, Emefa.
Now, let me find out if whilst during your rounds you notice that people are being turned away for not obeying the protocols. Yes,
at the Odododo constituency, specifically the City Engineers Registration Center, I spoke to ASP Williams Kalami, who is the District Crime Officer. He tells me that they are strictly enforcing a no face mask, no registration policy there.
And we must make sure we are all safe. So we see to it that people come with face masks. The social distancing will also be observed. So we are ensuring that it is observed.
What about those who come without face masks? What happens to them?
Yeah, personally, I have even spotted some people who were not wearing face masks. And I advised them and sacked them, and they went back and came back in.
Okay. So if you come here without face mask, you'll be sacked and asked to go and get one?
Yes, sure. Because it is easily you can spread the COVID-19 if you are not in the face mask. So people who come here, we advise you, if you become recalcitrant.
That's AFP Williams, Kalami. Let's hit the grounds now. We'll start off from the Upper West region where my colleague Rafiq Salam joins me on the phone. Rafiq, so tell us about the situation regarding the adherence to safety protocols where you are.
In the Upper West region, I will tell you that, yes, most of the registration centers that are visited, or most of the people or the prospective registrants are wearing face masks. What that they are not adhering to is the social distance. And you know, this morning, the situation was even chaotic because of the early downpour. And so it was difficult to control some of the crowds or some of the people who have snailed the queues right here. And so the difficulty that the registration officers told me is that how to adhere this social distancing because they are not able to control the crowds.
That's Rafiq Salam from the Upper West region. We understand the situation is almost the same in the Ashanti region also. Nana Sensomenta will join us with the situation on the ground shortly. But the National Commission for Civic Education is asking the security services to enforce the no mask directive during the voter registration exercise. Now, speaking on Prime Morning on Joy TV, Chairperson Josephine Nkrumah said the executive instrument EI 164 has made the directive enforceable by law agencies with accompanying sanctions which must be applied.
I mean, we all understand that the wearing of mask EI 164 is law. And in that regard, we would expect that Ghanaians appreciate the level of education that has gone on so far and for them to adhere and comply with the law. That being said, there are other issues that perhaps may contribute to the massing up of people at registration centers. EC is doing its job, but I think we need to step up issues around materials arriving on time to avoid massing up of people. We need to look at issues around the potential to have many more people at registration centers.
That's the NCC chairperson, Madam Josephine Nkrumah. So as part of enforcement of the safety protocols, the Electoral Commission has issued a directive to security personnel at the 33,367 centers to strictly enforce the protocols and ensure orderliness. This is contained in a circular issued by the Commission in the last few minutes. Joining us editor Fifi Kumsini in the studio with details. Fifi, take us through what it says.
It says the Electoral Commission wishes to inform the general public that eligible applicants are encouraged to strictly adhere to the social distancing protocols in the ongoing registration exercise. Additionally, other COVID-19 safety protocols such as wearing of nose masks and washing of hands and the running water apply at all our 33,367 registration centers across the country and our district offices. The general public should note that the presence of the security personnel at the registration centers is to enforce the protocols and also to ensure orderliness. The Electoral Commission would appreciate the cooperation of the general public for a successful registration exercise. The Commission is grateful to Ghanaians for the enthusiasm shown so far towards the registration exercise.
That's a circular from the Electoral Commission coming in the last few minutes, and Fifi taking us through it. Now, the Asakori Mampo Municipal Chief Executive Alidu Seidu says he will hold the Swasi MP Muntaka Mubarak responsible for any disruption of the exercise in the area. It follows a warning by the MP to fiercely resist what he describes as an alleged scheme by the governing MPP to bus non-residents in Aswasi to register. Nana Sensumensa has more in
Aswasi constituency parliamentary seat remains the only one the governing MPP has never annexed in its stronghold Ashanti region since its creation in 2004. Currently holding 44 out of the 47 constituencies of the region, the NPP has declared what it terms 47-47, which means it is determined to snatch all three seats occupied by the NDC in the region. No wonder allegations of manipulation have started flying. Incumbent MP Muntaka Mubarak claims people are being barred from outside to register in Aswasi.
Clearly, you see that they are doing this to enhance cross-boundary activity. For us, we have a simple message. This is our territory. We will do everything to protect it.
He also accuses the EC of creating what he describes as ambiguous registration centers on the periphery of the constituency to aid the MPP agenda.
We believe that they should stick to the CI and allow the police stations that have been created. If they want to create more police stations, the law allows them to create more police stations. But to create this ambiguous station that anybody from all the centers will be able to go there, how are you going to even challenge?
MPP parliamentary aspirant for Asawase, who is also MC for Asokore Mampong, is counter-accusing the minority chief whip of attempt to disrupt the registration exercise. He says he will hold the MP liable if anything goes wrong in the registration.
You don't say things, warmongering, expressing your own anger with such a sabotage, saying that whoever is coming from his house to come and register to bid farewell to his family before he gets here. It means that if anybody gets hurt, we shall hold him responsible. Because at the end of the day, we want to have free, fair, and trouble-free registration and election. It doesn't matter where someone comes from. I don't care. It's about Ghanaians.
Meanwhile, confusion nearly broke out over one of the newly created polling stations in the constituency. Alhaji Muntaka expressed outrage over the sighting of the Adom Drinking Sports Registration Center, which he claimed is near the residence of the constituency chairman of the ruling NPP.
You can see it's very clear. You can't place a polling station in somebody's residence. That's a private property. I mean, he has rooms. Somebody comes with suspicion that he has packed people in the room. How can we go and say somebody to open his private house for you to do? And we are saying that, look, there's a school here. Let's locate the polling station. It's a new police station. By law, you are supposed to notify the political party 21 days before the start of the registration. That has not been done. Only this morning for us to see that a station is in place here. That is very unfortunate.
Ali Duseidu, in reaction, maintains all the over 150 polling stations within the constituencies must be relocated if the Member of Parliament insists on his claims.
This is a polling station. It is in front of somebody's house. And all of these polling stations have been created long ago. We have 186 police stations. If you say there is a particular police station started at a place purporting to be in front of someone who is a sympathizer to an MPP, then you go to all the police stations and get that relocated. All the police stations that you have, about 80% are all in front of some people's houses or their business areas.
That's the situation in Aswasi. We head to the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency here in Accra, where the executives of the NDC are accusing the MP for the area of busing people from other constituencies to register in the ongoing exercise. So constituency chairman Bismarck Abobi Ayute claims Madam Lydia Al-Hassan is bringing people from other constituencies such as Ayawaso East and North, Ladadekotopong, Kwabenya and Somanya, among other areas. Addressing a news conference in Accra today, he called on the EC to intervene in the matter.
She is importing people from other constituencies. Ayawaso North, Ayawaso East, Ladadekotopon, Kwabenya, all the adjoining constituencies of Ayawaso West Wogon. Above all, she's bringing people from Ada, she's bringing people from Somanya, she's bringing people from Atiabi, she's bringing people from Eastern region as far as Isawem. This morning we had a hint that there was two buses coming from Isawem. Being NPP people, they are bringing to come and register. So we went and we intercepted the car. I will send you the sprinters number and the mode of their operation, how they get them to the police station. What we are saying is that it is wrong. We are in an elite community. Ayawaso West Wogon constituency is the most elite community in Ghana. So allow the people, the grown-ups there, people who have businesses there, to determine who should be their MP. But if you go and import the youth from other constituencies to come and elect MPs for us, then you are not being fair. It's an insult to the integrity and the willpower of the people residing in this constituency.
Bismarck Abobi Ayete is NDC chairman in the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. Well, we've been trying to get the NPP's candidates for the area. Madam Lydia Al-Hassan has been unsuccessful so far, but will continue to try. Meanwhile, research fellow at the Institute of Democratic Governance, IDEC, Kwesi Jonah, says although this is a normal occurrence in Ghanaian politics, it is a worrying trend. He spoke on PM Express on the Joy News channel.
If a party feels that in a nearby constituency, I have too many votes, I can definitely win
the seat. I don't need all the numbers. But in the next constituency, I have nearly not voters to be able to capture that seat. In this case, Asawati. So they move some of the surplus voters across constituency boundaries. It's not from one police station to the other. So what Honorable Muntaka is complaining about is moving people from nearby constituencies to Asawati constituency to register in order to increase the MPP's. What serious allegation he has made is that the EC is conniving by locating the registration centers across the borders of the constituencies so that people can very easily sneak from one constituency. These are the first one. It has always been there, barring people across constituencies to go and inflate the votes in another candidate, another constituency.
That's a research fellow at the Institute of Democratic Governance, IDEC, Chrissy Jonah. And that's it for the election headquarters here on the Midday News. Let's move on to some other stories now, because the government of Ghana is expected to airlift more Ghanaians trapped in the UK as a result of COVID-19 travel restrictions. A statement by the High Commission indicated that Emirates Airlines had agreed to carry out the exercise. My colleague Joseph Akable joins me in studio with details of the statement. What more does it say, Joseph?
So the statement indicates that the first date for departure from Heathrow will be on the 1st to connect in Dubai on the 2nd, and for the 9th, departure from Heathrow will be on the 8th. And so it should be noted that the affected persons must have paid for the cost of hotel reservations directly to any of the underlisted hotels prior to departure. So it lists a number of them and their prices and contact details attached for those who want to participate in this particular. It goes on to say that the High Commission hereby reiterates the following: interested persons who are willing to pay for the cost of travel should visit the website of Emirates for further details. Passengers are to carry the appropriate PPE, that is face masks, before boarding the flight. All passengers are also to note that they will cover the cost of the 14-day quarantine with a possible extension to 21 days depending on individual cases. The cost of quarantine, as indicated below per night, must be paid directly to a selected hotel before passengers are allowed to travel.
Well, after the directive, maybe they can do that just in time for the ongoing voter registration exercise. We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. Our top story so far: obey the protocol, so go home. Electoral Commission warns voter ID applicants as they resolve to increase vigilance at various registration centers on day 2 of the registration exercise. In sports also, former WO bantamweight world champion Alfred Kote has died in the United States after suffering a stroke. And also, actress Ekia Pimpolo fails to honor police CID invitation for posting nude pictures of herself and son on social media. We'll speak to the police even as the actress releases video apologizing for the act.
It was an artistic impression I was posting out there, but all the same, I want to say that I'm so sorry if anyone got hurt with my post, and also want you to know that it wasn't bad intentions.
And later on Spotlight, we celebrate legendary high life musician Rex Omar, whose music still lives on 2 decades after he entered the music industry.
Clarity without money. If nobody knows you, can hide in some corner to chop your cocoa and your watching. But you become popular. Everybody wants. You don't want people to see you sitting in the corner chopping cocoa or queuing for talking. So you have to live a certain life.
Hello.
Why you bed?
It's 5 a.m. Of course I bed. Lockdown too.
Guy, some series that they watch for Netflix. Too much.
You woke up to comment.
Which can't wake up? I've been watching from last night too.
you have data, eh?
Vodafone Adaroma. The too much bundles now be too much. See, Jock, make an ad screener to the Skype call, then buy you guys a story.
Too much data is now double the data at the same price. So you can stay home and stay connected on Vodafone with too much data for the day and too much bonus from midnight till 4 a.m. That's double Ankasa. Terms and conditions apply. Dial *700# Subscribe now. Ready?
Time now for sports here on the Midday News. And Ghana has lost the first of her 10 living former world champions, Alfred Cobra Kote. The former WO bantamweight champion gave up after suffering a stroke in the midst of other health complications, which he had battled for months. Nathaniel Atto, Joy Sports editor, has more on this.
Well, Alfred the Cobra Kote was one of Ghana's brightest spots in boxing in the early to mid-90s. Now he and Ike Bazooka Kote formed what was boxing's Wiz Ghana's representatives at the Seoul Olympic Games in Korea, and he annexed his world title. I'm talking about the WBO bantamweight title after defeating the then champion Rafael Del Valle of Puerto Rico to rise up to that big stage of world glory. He defended it on 2 occasions, and after that lost it back in 1995. It's been a long, winding career, interestingly, between the years 2001 and 2006.
Apologies for that poor quality in sound. That will bring you details on that. So former WO bantamweight world champion Alfred Cobra Cote has died in the United States after suffering a stroke. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Now the police CID says actress Rosamund Brown, popularly known as Ikuya Pimpolo, is yet to honor an invitation it sent to her following a petition against Ikuya Pimpolo, who has been widely criticized for posting a nude photo of herself with a 7-year-old son to celebrate his birthday. Executive Director of Child Rights International, Bright Appear, has petitioned the police to investigate the matter. We'll soon hear from the Director of the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit, Superintendent Mike Barr. But first, let's hear from Ikuya Pimpolo, who's apologized for the issue.
For wishing my son today a happy birthday. We all know that I'm an artist, and anything I post on my page, I always try to send a message out there as a mother. I'm not pumped, but all the same, I want to say that I'm so sorry if I hurt or anyone got hurt with my post this morning. And also want you to know that it wasn't bad intention. I was just trying to send a message out there. That's all.
Child rights advocate and executive director of the NGO, executive director of Child Online Africa, Awu Aidam Amenya, says both mother and child need counseling.
The child needs protection. The child needs his best interest secured. Research shows that any child who is introduced to porn below the age of 12 has a tendency of reduced empathy on even rape victims, and his intimacy level goes down as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if I hear the next time that the child is masturbating. So there's a lot we need to do about that. It's not enough for her to say that she's not going to do it again.
Well, she's also been speaking about the effect of the mother's actions on him. But, well, the police CID, which invited the actress for questioning, says she has failed to turn up. Let's now speak to Superintendent Mike Barr, who is handling this case. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So, as we speak, has Ikuya Pimpolo been to your office as you requested?
No, we invited him. We invited her yesterday to report today at 10 a.m. But she hasn't reported. So, if she's listening to us, she has to report at the CID headquarters to enable us to investigate the alleged offences.
But what exactly would you require of her when she comes to your office?
Yeah, we'll investigate, that is to also interrogate, we'll find out from her whether indeed what the allegation that we are investigating is true or otherwise. And then we'll move from there. We also have to support the child. You know, the child has been psychologically abused, and it's important that we collaborate with the social welfare department to help the child. If indeed what we saw on the social media is anything to go by.
But what exactly will be her offense then?
Sorry?
I'm asking what exactly will be her offense, for which reason you are inviting her.
You know, we are now investigating. But if what we saw on the social media is proved to be as it is, then of course we have very lot of offenses. We have other offenses such as gross indecency. We can also talk about even indecent exposure under the criminal code, criminal and other offences Act 2960. And then we can also look at, you know, abusing the child psychologically, which is also criminalized under the Domestic Violence Act 732. So we have other options that we can look at, depending on the information that we will gather, or depending on the evidence that we'll be able to establish at the end of the investigation.
We're grateful for your time, Superintendent Mike Ba. We'll check on you again by close of day on how far we've gone in terms of this invitation and the investigation. Now, Superintendent Mike Ba is a police CID. It's time now for entertainment. Well, you had the opportunity to speak to the Deputy Gender Minister on this as well.
And she's not very excited. She says that the actress must be brought to book, and which is what she's trying to do. But Emefa, we have Rex Omar on Spotlight today. He's done a lot for the Ghana music industry, and we're celebrating him right here. Rex Omar rose to prominence in 1983 with a Waripa album. He's still in the game and definitely has no plans of retiring anytime soon.
I can't stop playing music. The whole thing is, I decided to take a break for a while and then invest in something else to secure the future of the children. Because I'm so passionate with music that if I'm not very careful, I do it without even thinking of the money.
With a strong passion for music, the musician who doubles as the chairman for the Ghana Music Rights Organization, GAMRO, is doing everything possible to help shape and build the music industry.
Because I realized that most of our people are not financially literate. So the money comes and they think that it will continue to come, and so they spend it anyhow, and by the time they realize everything is gone. So since 2009, I put the plans together to set up some kind of a financial institution with Showbiz Credit Union. So everybody that falls within the Showbiz fraternity, you are given opportunity to be part of it, member owned. You can get soft loans.
For those who may still be wondering, here is a sample of some of his popular songs you jammed to.
And that's it for all the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Thanks so much for your company. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Dr. Mensah Bill has living word.